Well, there's Ari Litmanen, who is a Finn, had 3 clubs in Finland, now speaks fluent Dutch and is a very, very talented player. Ajax, only 4 yellow cards the whole of this season. Grêmio, bottom of the Brazilian Fair Play League, with Gino, the number 5, probably the worst disciplinary record. Away we go then, the 16th Toyota Cup, a sharp November night in Tokyo. Ajax of Holland, the European champions who can do nothing wrong. They've had 49 league games unbeaten, 16 Champions League games unbeaten. This is the club trophy they want to win. Grêmio Porto Alegre, winners here, of course, 12 years ago, have now been planning this campaign in their calendar for the last 3 months. Each player is on a win bonus of $22,000, only slightly more than Ajax. And the feeling pre-match here is that Ajax get into their rhythm, then they're going to be the ones who carry off this 16th Toyota Cup. They have the talent, they have invention, but the idea behind the Brazilian tactics is to keep it tight, keep it, if you like, a little bit brutal, tight marking, don't let Ajax play. Here's Paulo Nunes. David's winning that one. Blind and Litmanen picked up well by Gaiano. Jardel knocks it back, and a bit of a flyer from the midfield. Carlos Miguel, in fact, the one with the left foot. Counter-attack is the best strength of Gremio. Ajax like to attack. They're used to sides letting them play more often than not, but it doesn't always work. Here's Finidi. As we emphasize again, George is certainly his family name. Finidi is the football name he likes to be known by. Blind trying to put one forward to Kluivert, nicely controlled. Here's a Ronald de Boer. Forward is Jari Litmanen. And offside against Finidi. If Litmanen, the Finn, can get the Nigerian on one side and the Dutchman on the other going down those flanks, then certainly Gremio will be in a lot of trouble. With the kick is Dan Relay, the 22-year-old Brazilian goalkeeper. It's a hard one for the captain, Adilson. Back to Dan Relay. Close to him here is Rivarola, the Paraguayan. Arce on the right touchline over that far side. He's another Paraguayan. Both of them, of course, regular internationals. Not too many internationals in this Gremio side. Arce trying to get one forward to Gino. Nice ball. Adilson put it forward. Here goes Paulo Nunes. Easy one by Bogada. Nicely done. Adilson. Not well controlled by Carlos Miguel. Overmars. Sharp tackle by Arce. The player, Finidi or George or whatever the Dutch bench, Van Gaal and you care to call him, went to Holland on a trial with the Nigerian under-17 team, and such is the Ajax ability to scout out talent that there were players there watching him. It was only a training session, not a match, and they signed him on the strength of what they saw in the training session. Blind to Ronald de Boer, not an easy one, and he gives it away. Haven't allowed Ajax to settle yet. Nicely done by Adilson, but too many players in midfield. Overmars comes back to help. This is Bogada. Knock forward to Kluivert. David's a foul. And it means Gremio can push forward. Paulo Nunes playing in a central position at the moment, but moving wide. Quite a difficult swirling wind around this National Olympic Stadium. Here's Adilson, the captain of Gremio. Jardel and Paulo Nunes moving around up front. This is aimed for Jardel, flicked on to Paulo Nunes. Now can he put it back to anybody? This is Mike Reisiger who puts it off for the first corner of the game. No, doesn't get a corner. That was a surprise. And Scolari, Felipe on our captions, or he's better known as Scolari, not a wildly happy man. Kluivert's beaten by Gino. Little touch by Jardel. Paulo Nunes is going through. Good shot. Comfortably saved by Edwin van der Sar. But a nice direct break there by Gremio of Porto Alegre. Nice flick on. Good shot. Well covered. That was an encouraging start from Gremio, who, according to a lot of the press, were a little bit apprehensive about playing Ajax. So all the press they get in South America is Ajax are world beaters, Ajax can do nothing wrong, they have just demolished Real Madrid, nobody can beat them in their domestic league, but they've still got to prove it here. Overmars bursting down the left-hand side, Kluivert is in the middle, Litmanen coming to support. Oh, not a good one. And it was noticeable how well Gremio got back and how quickly they're breaking here. Paulo Nunes on the right. Jardel holding it up well here. This is Adilson. Good left foot. And Paulo Nunes gets forward. And he can chop it in now. Can Jardel get to that? Nobody can. It's gone out. Nice idea, though, by Gremio. And Paulo Nunes puts his hand up towards Jardel saying, sorry, lousy cross. A lot of goals have come from his head and for Paulo Nunes' cross. You probably see when we get a little bit closer to Jardel, he's got a big scar on his forehead, and he got that, he said, by falling off a lorry. Not quite sure how you fall off a lorry, but he did it, and it's reckoned to be his lucky scar. If he hits the ball on that scar, they normally go in, he says. It's a good tale, I don't know how true it is. And Kluivert is under that. Well knocked away by Arce. So Winston Bogarde for Ajax with the throw to Frank de Boer with that excellent left foot of his. Finds Danny Blind. That's a poor one from the captain and the most experienced Ajax player. Good little push forward to Adilson. They're chasing back hard. Carlos Miguel to Paulo Nunes. Arce is wide there. Gino is supporting him. Forward to Adilson. Not quite tight enough with the control, and Danny Blind is in. He's missed it, 1 or 2 passes. He needs to get 1 or 2 right to gain his confidence. Now Overmars has gone down the left-hand side. Good run. Can he get the cross into Litmanen or Kluivert? Overmars pulls it back to de Boer. Good marking again by Gremio. Made it very tight and very difficult. Adilson gets himself into trouble. The foul, free kick. Gino quickly to Paulo Nunes. Some 1 against 1 here. He might be able to spring by him on the outside. But Bogarde does a good job. Not a good pass though. Paulo Nunes miss-kicking away by Bogarde only partially. A few nerves here, I think, early on in this unofficial World Cup final. Good cross, I thought, to begin with, for the heading power of Jardel. That's a bad one. Finidi warned by the English referee. It's Gaiano who was chopped down. Good potential free kick here now for Gremio, with big fellas coming up from the back, including Adilson. But Jardel is the one to look for. Gaiano is in there too. This is real danger now for Ajax. Goalkeeper's there. Not quite deep enough hit. Jardel given no chance. Quite a bit of height in this Gremio side, more so than Ajax. Kluivert to Litmanen, Overmars. Davids is going to help him on that left-hand side. This is Davids, no, he bypasses it to Blind. It's a fine ball forward for Finidi. Out comes the goalkeeper. That was a lovely move. A brilliant pass to Finidi from Blind. And if he'd have got the better cross in, it could have been the first goal. Reisiger heads it down. The blonde head of Reisiger. Jardel controls it. Carlos Miguel. Jardel, little touch. Guyana's in there. Tumbles. Ajax have it. Blind. Kluivert. Finidi. Ducking away from one challenge. Space here for Davids. Through the middle goes Kluivert. Protected just by Rivarola. Rated the number 3 goalkeeper in Brazil at the moment, although he has played as the number 1 in the national side. Flag is up for offside. Kluivert having a word or two. With a little more than 11 minutes gone in the game against Real Madrid in the European Champions League just recently. By that time, Ajax were totally on top of the opposition. Not on top here. Bit of space for Mike Reisiger, who played in every minute of every match of last season in all competitions. Frank de Boer to his brother Ronald. Blind trying a difficult ball. Gino couldn't quite stop it, he did, but he slipped. And this is a nice play by Kluivert. And a little give and go from Litmanen that didn't quite work. That was good stuff from Ajax. Much more typical. And the foul on the edge of the area. The give and go didn't actually work, but as Kluivert went to go for the return, then he was blocked, and the referee spotted it, and it's a free kick. Now, Van Gaal, the coach, and his coaching staff have worked very, very hard on these free kicks for Ajax. There's Litmanen with a good shot. There's Frank de Boer with a good left foot shot. And Blind, who can knock it square to Davids. So if it's right foot, it's Litmanen. If it's left, it's de Boer. There it is. And comes to nothing. Sigh of relief. Not a clever place to give away free kicks, but I suspect there might be more of those. Paulo Nunes against Bogada and Litmanen, and it's out, and it's a throw to Gremio. Pushed a lot of players up, but no real chance of getting through here at the moment. Well, it's a throw for Ajax, but it's not an easy position to get the ball away. Could be an opportunity for Gremio to win it back. Kluivert, a nice little flick on. And out. And certainly Ajax haven't got into any sort of a rhythm yet. It'll be very encouraging for Gremio. Paulo Nunes. Overmars. Knocking around well here, Ajax. Leaving a bit of space in the end for Davids. Easily won by Rivarola. And then Gino. Foul. Works it quickly to the left-hand side for Adilson, the captain. Trying for the big one, over the top of the defender Bogada, finds Paulo Nunes, great ball. Paulo Nunes has done a great job, this is real danger for Ajax. Forward in the end, they got bodies back to block his path, but it was a fantastic ball from Adilson to Paulo Nunes to set that one up. This is Gélson, and he's played in 2 Toyota Cup finals, 2 medals. He's looking for his 3rd, which would be a record. This is Adilson, great play, lovely left foot, a little bit too strong. Round of applause for the player, also playing his last game for Gremio. He's on his way to Kaiserslautern in the German Bundesliga. That's a difficult one from Reisiger. Frank de Boer. Nicely done by Kluivert, tightly marked, but managing to get it to a colleague. Finidi back to Reisiger. In for Litmanen. Ronald de Boer. Good stuff. Snapping at their heels, Gremio, but they've opened up space here. Blind, Kluivert, and Litmanen almost got that one. Well read by Adilson. Jardel couldn't hold it up accurately, has to fight back for it, loses it. Reisiger, nice little pass forward. Litmanen, good ball. Ronald de Boer. Overmars is in the middle. And the shot from a distance by Blind was not too far wide, but that was a nice sharp move by Ajax, who claims, Danny Blind indeed, that he should have got a corner out of that one. Good first time play. Blind comes up in support, whacks it. Does he deserve to get a free kick or a corner? I think perhaps the challenge was a little bit late. Blind now settling into his leadership role. Adilson is limping here. That's a bad sign though for Gremio. Key player in midfield. Put in that challenge. The biter bit. The coach Scolari is a little bit anxious here, worried that his key midfield creative player might be in a bit of trouble. He's giving them some instructions fairly loudly as Guyana takes this free kick. Almost hemmed in by Ajax players here. They have to do well to play this one out unless they can play it big, which they've done. Paulo Nunes chasing this one. Good little touch by Frank de Boer. Strength by Mike Reisiger. Kluivert can't get it. Lovely judgment by Adilson, but a fight back by Kluivert. One by Litmanen. One again by Gremio. Good play by both sides. Bogada. Well done by Davids and Danny Blind. Overmars. That's a tough one with the Paraguayan Arce getting in there, and this is going to be a card. Yes, it is. So the first infringement, the first yellow card, quite early in the game, so he'll have to watch his step. He's keeping a tight marking rein on Overmars, but he'll have to watch his step now. Overmars going in on that one. This is Adilson to Francisco Arce again. Jardel. Ronald de Boer on him, Frank de Boer rather. Gélson. Good play. And well marked by Finidi coming back to help. This is Finidi who didn't expect to get that one. Nice little stab forward to Kluivert, couldn't control it. Paulo Nunes. And here's Adilson's got a good left foot. Great try, bounced rather awkwardly in front of goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar, but that was well worth a go. Did he have it covered? But encouraging work there for Adilson as that swerved away from that right-hand post of Edwin van der Sar. looking. Overmars. Oh, in comes Danny Blind from the back. Chip forward and well offside. Patrick Kluivert. So 20 minutes gone. The game's opened up a little bit, I think, in the last few minutes. A little bit more creative play in midfield. It's got to be fast and furious in midfield, otherwise if the pass doesn't get forward quick enough, situations like that pop up. The game, I think, fractionally opening up. Kluivert still not a happy man. And we've got attention here to Finidi, who's got boot problems. Well done by Adilson, but it goes out. Well, Gremio have taken a little bit of stick, not only in South America generally, but even in Brazil, about their style. They've had a lot of players sent off during the course of the season and in the Copa Libertadores, but they actually won more games and scored more goals than anyone since 1976 in the Copa Libertadores. So they can't be all bad, and although they've had one player booked here, they're playing some positive football. Ajax, of course, with Litmanen developing tremendously, particularly after Bergkamp has gone, have played some wonderful football in European competition and have completely dominated the Dutch league for a couple of seasons or so. But they're not finding this one quite so easy. Good challenge on Ronald de Boer. Gaiano, good play out to Paulo Nunes. On the right-hand side goes Arce. Arce, the Paraguayan, is trapped by Overmars, who's pretty nifty himself when it comes to pace. And there it is. Overmars, the defender on this occasion, wins it. Overmars, of course, has an older brother who plays professional football, and he says of Mark that he used to be a complete pain when he was a youngster because he was always trying to do everything with his wrong foot. So by the time he came to play senior football, he was a genuine two-footed player, and no doubt if you can get away from Arce, we might well see that. Blind doesn't do well there, but it goes straight to Bogada. It's a hopeful one, which Ronald de Boer does brilliantly to knock on to Litmanen. Good interception. Frank de Boer to Edgar Davids. Chased by Overmars. No real chance of getting it. A little bit untidy in midfield, but they're having to battle for possession and doing it well, Ajax. Reisinger. A lot of people have said that if the game becomes physical, it won't suit them. Well, it doesn't suit anybody, but they're not doing too badly at the moment. Davids is beginning to open up for them. Ronald de Boer. Tried to get it inside the fullback, but Roger at 20, the youngest of the Gremio players, shows a nice bit of experience there, doesn't panic. And Van Gaal and his two first-team assistant coaches, I think, feels that after a difficult start, it might be getting a little bit better in midfield at least for Ajax. Certainly not up front. Gaiano to Roger, been quiet so far, but so too has Finidi. Finidi wins that one nicely. Lovely ball, well intercepted by Gino. Gino takes it over again, finds Paulo Nunes. Jardel is offside unless he watches out. Does well in the oblique run, back in again to Paulo Nunes. But it would have been well tracked by a couple of Ajax players, and there was nothing on there really. Adilson comes across here. Coolness with players running at him. Difficult one for Adilson. He's being harried from behind by Edgar Davids. Throw in. With a little look at the scar over his left eye there, the one he got falling off a lorry. He hasn't had too many chances to demonstrate his really formidable heading power. Not unusual for a Brazilian, but it's more of a European ability than a South American ability. The 6'2½", the ability to get up really, really high. Here he is now. Jardel looking for support as Frank de Boer tries to keep him out. Corner is probably the best he can get. Doesn't get that as Blint gets it away. Always a moment there where it looked as if Gino was going to swoop and get it for Gremio. Blint, good skills again by Ajax to get themselves out of trouble. They've been under a lot of pressure in midfield, but they're keeping the skills going. Finidi on the right makes a run, tracks back, gets possession. Roger tries to get to him. Litmanen again. Litmanen barely has more than 2 touches. One. Blint. Bogarda has pushed up. Davids is square. Overmars on the left-hand side. A lot of Ajax players now, but can they open up this Gremio defence? Very tight marking. Davids to Blint. Some good first-time passing here. Blint again. Finidi. Good tackle by Roger. Picked up by Gaiano. No foul. Paulo Nunes runs into trouble. Play on. Paulo Nunes chases back in frustration. Blint makes him run. Reisiger gives him no chance. Good tight marking by a young Roger. Adilson looking for Jardel. Too strong. Great control. Beautiful play. Mike Reisiger. Match official has just pushed back Scolari, the Gremio coach, from the touchline back onto the bench. But it might be my imagination, they're not getting into striking positions, but Ajax are beginning to play the ball around well. Overmars going in for this one, he's got the pace. Can he put it into Litmanen? For the first time he got past his fullback, and when he got the ball in an inviting position, he couldn't pull it back to Kluivert, who wasn't too happy, nor indeed was Jari Litmanen. But it was an excellent move, and it brings a corner for the Dutch side, with Frank de Boer coming up from the back. Although he's not particularly tall, 179, he's very good in the air. Kluivert gets up, beaten away by Roger. Litmanen controls. Gremio keep pushing out. Not offside, and 3 up. Oh, gosh, that flag was up late. Amazingly late. And I think one of the problems there of top-class football, and without being too disparaging, linesmen who aren't quite as quick as they play, I'm not quite sure whether he's offside or not. Ronald de Boer, who played up front for the international side of Holland against Norway in a key Euro 96 qualifier, and plays on the right-hand side for his club. He's played in this position for the last couple of seasons and does well to pick that one out. So it shows you it's a typical Ajax requirement that you've got to be able to play a number of positions, so that if you lose players like Bergkamp, if you lose Rijkaard, and indeed if you lose Marcio Santos, a Brazilian signed at the beginning of the season losing through injury, then other players can move, change, reorganize, and the system remains roughly the same. So far, not too much of the Paulo Nunes and Jardel combination, as Ajax are beginning to get a grip in midfield. Edgar David darts through beautifully there. Litmanen lets it run. De Boer comes in, gets away from a pack of Gremio players. De Boer, great ball, as Kluivert went forward. But it's certainly beginning to build up here, and there's some talent coming through from Ajax. But they haven't really tested Danrelay yet. Won by Jardel in the air, No real opportunity for Paulo Nunes to get a hold of it, but Grêmio do get a throw here. Average age of Ajax, 22. Pretty well 23. Average age of Gremio, just 24. So they're both comparatively young for this quality, this level. This is Litmanen. Overmars is on the left-hand side, and he likes to give it quickly, but he gave it too quickly there. But that won't disturb him. He's a very ambitious player. As the players say of him, if you play him table tennis, golf, cards, he likes to win everything. Jardel, nice control. Gaiano to Roger. Adilson, well blocked by Mike Reisinger, picked up by Ronald de Boer. Litmanen. Down the right-hand side goes Mike Reisinger. Roger's there too. Gets a foot to it. Well done by the 20-year-old. Always not a good ball from his captain, and it's Ajax who win it back again. Beginning to quite lively for Ajax and difficult for Gremio. Forward by Baguada to Litmanen. Overmars. Litmanen. Over goes Gino. And the old hand, well, the old hand of 29 lets it run out, and Litmanen can't get it. Gino, who was covering him then, played for Sao Paulo in 92 and 93, and has 2 winners' medals in the Toyota Cup. Well, won by Jardel, chased by Paulo Nunes and Bogada. Too strong for Litmanen. Picked up beautifully by Ajax and played very, very quickly. And a lovely ball to Kluivert. Kluivert on a little run here. And here comes Finidi. Can he cross it in? Well, it's a good one. Kluivert. Lovely move. Kluivert couldn't really get a position. He says that Finidi should have given it a little bit of a deeper cross, but what a good through ball there, first of all. Excellent play, and Finidi's cross wasn't quite perfect, but the defender was in a difficult position for him. But it's looking much better. Blint's pass. Kluivert drags the defender to him, opens it up for Finidi, and the cross not quite there. But you can see that as a 19-year-old, what talent he's got. He's a 19-year-old on a junior contract still. That's by his own choice. It means it's the same thing that Clarence Seedorf did. He was on a junior contract when he left Ajax. It means that you can control your transfer fee a lot better, and it means a lot more money goes into your pocket if you are transferred to, say, an Italian club. And the thought is that Kluivert will do that. Not too soon, but too soon for a lot of Ajax supporters. But first of all, he has this dreadful court case hanging over his head. He was involved in a fatal car accident, and sadly, it could mean a prison sentence. Kluivert there. Ronald de Boer to Mark Overmars. 1 against 1 here, and Arce, but Arce, I think, has a little bit of luck and wins it back and wins a free kick. And an easy one for international goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar. 6 of the Ajax side were in the Dutch national team that beat Norway recently, and Davids, in possession here, was one of the substitutes. So it's reasonably true to say that Ajax are dominating Dutch football at the moment, but they're not dominating this game, although they're beginning to get some sort of a pattern together through midfield and get Kluivert, Overmars and Finidi in possession now, going into striking positions. Ronald de Boer, And they're at the most dangerous when they lull the opposition into what looks like static play and then spring it forward fast. That wasn't good enough, though. And Adilson with Guyano coming back to cover, not a good clearance. Back to Ronald de Boer. And de Boer does brilliantly here. And now it's too strong for Finidi, but it went off a defender. That's a corner. And it means that Bogada will come up. Frank de Boer is in there. Blind is in there. A lot of defenders then, with only Reisiger staying back. Blind has now moved back. So there's a threat here for Dan Relay in the Gremio goal. As Overmars swings this one in. It's very deep, too deep. Perhaps a break here is on. Bogada gets a challenge in. Second attempt wins. Blind turns it superbly. Looked to the right, wasn't on. Switched it to the left. Bogada. Davids. Nifty play. Here's a man who can play in the centre of defence. And he's brought down on the edge of the Gremio area for a free kick. And once again, the big fellas who hadn't really gone back from that corner are involved here. Unless Frank de Boer wants to fire one in, this might be an opportunity to drop it onto de Boer's left foot, which is lying in waiting just to the left of this free kick position. Three-man wall. Overmars might curl one in, or will he knock a little short one? Finidi chips it up. It's a good one. And Litmanen. Well, I thought originally he was going to go for a header, then he changed his mind and it was too late. Reisiger comfortably down for Bogada. They're beginning to get into their stride here, Ajax. Over goes Adilson and Kluivert's in here. Hacked away, but only just. They're in real trouble, Gremio. They're beginning to wobble. Ajax definitely getting into a rhythm, with something like 7 or 8 minutes to go before half-time. And Canu, the bench, looking anxiously on as the pressure is exerted by the Dutch team. De Boer against Adilson. Finidi. Overmars and Kluivert in the middle. This is Litmanen, lovely play. Blind. Litmanen again. Litmanen recovering fast. A foul, a push, a free kick to Gremio, and the pressure's off them. I don't think he agreed with the decision by the English referee. The first British official indeed to control a Toyota Cup. Well, at least the British can get involved in some high-class football. Kanu, the Nigerian, waiting his chance, perhaps if he can get into this side. He's another very talented 19-year-old. But it's been a good spell by Ajax. Litmanen doesn't quite get it cleanly. Gino is in there to swoop. And it looked as if he was fouled there by Litmanen, but the referee doesn't blow. Off Roger for a throw to Ajax. Gremio won it in 1983. They were a fairly hard side then, but they scored a couple of outstanding goals through a very talented player. And offside against Jardel. Renato was the key man then. Very different type of player to Jardel. Still playing, Renato. Occasionally, only recently played indeed for Gremio. Was on their books and he came on a couple of times as a substitute. In for Litmanen. They're moving around well, Ajax. Getting a little more space, a few more breaks in midfield. De Boer wins. Kluivert goes for it, but it's Adilson. Clears it towards Adilson. No foul, says Mr. Ellery. Get on with it. Davids, Blind, Kluivert. Excellent first control. Blind again. looking for Overmars. Arce was there, but it bounces off him rather fortunately to Gino. Reisinger, they're showing a few talents now, and Ajax looking for that breakthrough before half-time. Overmars, Kluivert in the middle. Finidi's coming in to help. Carlos Miguel, who's been fairly quiet in this game, but this is a nice little run from him. Forward goes Gaiano and Jardel. Carlos Miguel looks for help, he hasn't got any, might go for the corner. Blint. Gremio's throw. Now it's time for Ajax to pull a few players back. Well, that's not a particularly good ball. And it's another throw for Gremio. Must be a bit of a relief for them to get out of their own penalty area. Jardel, Gaiano rather. Lippmann is back to cover. Adilson coming to help. He's tightly marked by Reisinger. Paulo Nunes coming across. Lippmann to Blint, to Davids. Overmars has gone pelting down the left-hand side. Through the middle goes Ronald de Boer, not a particularly good one. Frank de Boer clears it up. De Boer in the middle, and it's a great ball to Overmars. He's there! Goalkeeper Danderley does well. He was out, I think, of his area, couldn't handle it. Lovely ball from Ronald de Boer to Overmars on that oblique angle. And a good bit of goalkeeping, it should be said, by the 22-year-old Danderley. Foul before the handball. Well, this is a lovely ball from Ronald de Boer. He did well to keep onside, but the goalkeeper did even better to block it. And interesting that the referee has come across to speak to Scolari, the coach of Gremio, and indicate where he should go and where he shouldn't go. Anyhow, free kick going to be taken by Adilson. Jardel leaping here, held off well by Frank de Boer. Overmars is coming back to help. Reisinger, instant control and a turn. Not a particularly good ball from Ronald de Boer. There's been some excellent passing and first-time touches, particularly by Lippmann, and some good covering by Gremio. Interesting contest. Not sparkling exactly in the penalty areas, but there's some talented play out there. Roger trying to help here. Carlos Miguel chipping one in. Jardel, Paulo Nunes. Cleared. With some anxiety, should be said. Finidi bursting past his man here, held back surely, and a yellow card, I'm afraid. Gaiano, second player booked. Quite definitely shirt pulling. Linesman saw it, referee saw it, and it's inevitable. Gaiano, who was sent off in the last minute of the Copa Libertadores final in the Medellin, Colombia, didn't matter at the time, but that yellow card could. Reisinger surprisingly running into trouble. Adilson gets in there. Don't know quite what that was. That was a handbag tackle. Jardel with Frank de Boer. De Boer gets a foot to it. And it's definitely Ajax with the better ideas and the better passing. Overmars, lovely run, blocked off, no foul. Cleared. They're certainly wobbling a bit though, but Gremio are good on the break. Paulo Nunes hasn't been in the game for the last 20 minutes. We've got a minute or so left in this first half. Jardel, back to Gino. Arce is on the right-hand side, he's got a good right foot. Paulo Nunes, good little turn and a shot, which doesn't test Edwin van der Sar at all. But encouraging, nice move, no real power. Easy one. Second highest leading scorer though for Gremio in the Copa Libertadores Cup, behind Jardel. Well, it's a pleasure watching Ajax when they're building it up from the back. Sometimes it goes wrong like that, but never the big boot. Always thinking. Punch forward by Adilson, who with Gremio is much more direct. Adilson has been kept fairly quiet. He's the player who's expected to provide deep crosses and passes from midfield towards Paulo Nunes, Carlos Miguel and Jardel, but he hasn't managed too much so far. Gaiano is pushed up from the back in case they want to lump one forward towards Dan Relay. Adilson couldn't get one in. And there is the whistle for the end of a very interesting first half, in which Gremio started quite brightly, and then slowly Ajax began to get their game together. They've looked a little bit more inventive in midfield, but to be fair to Gremio, they've defended well. Ajax finished the first half hardly dominating the game, but certainly on top, and it remains to be seen whether they can now open up the tough Gremio defence. Two of these Toyota Cups have gone to extra time, incidentally, and a couple of them have even been decided by penalties. The Gremio won it in 1983 in extra time against the German side Hamburg. David Ellery checks his watch, and away we go for the second half here in Tokyo. 0-0, with Ajax creating a couple of chances, but Gremio, a side strong in counter-attack, will argue that they had a couple of opportunities themselves, particularly early in the game. But Gremio have had two players booked, number 2 Arce, number 8 Gaiano. It will be interesting to see whether Ajax can develop that passing game that they showed us briefly in the first half in the latter stages. For Ajax, their last league defeat in Holland was May '94 against Willem II, the side they play next weekend. 16 games in the Champions League, they've gone undefeated, beating the record held by Liverpool and Ajax of the 70s, although AC Milan hold the overall record for 17 games in Europe, in different European competitions, without defeat. But that really is comparatively irrelevant here. Who's going to pick this big prize up? Paulo Nunes for Gremio on this right-hand side. Blocked by Frank de Boer. Had a bright opening spell, Paulo Nunes, not too much after that. Beaten in the air there by Bogado. Now Adilson gets it back in. Blinked away. Back in by Gino. Dan Relay. Jardel. Oh, nice play by Adilson. Jardel, nice one to Roger. Bit of a fullback shot, that one. Well, it's good play. Jardel quickly gets it wide to the young fullback coming up in support. But he panicked a little bit. And so often, Gremio have got themselves into a possible position, but they haven't really tested Edwin van der Sar. Kluivert, nice touch. Here's Lidmanen, he can fire them. His right foot's better than his left, but that was a good, quick move by Ajax. Nice play. Difficult ball to bring down. Scorer for Ajax in the Champions League last season. Won by Frank de Boer. His brother Ronald helps it on. Davids forward. Kluivert, great header. Ronald de Boer. Finidi, good pass. Can he get a decent crossing? Kluivert too strong for him. Punched away by Dan Relay. Excellent move by Ajax. And Good touch there by Adilson. Big through ball for Jardel. No chance. This is a bright opening to the second half. Adilson the header, but it's Ajax quickly in control. Litmanen to Finidi. A little bit of ducking and diving around here by Ajax to open up some space. Blind. Reisiger to Finidi. Well, that's a nasty one for somebody. Blind does well to get the header, but it's Jardel powering forward here. Van der Sar out quickly. Arce with Overmars. It's out, I'm afraid. Tight marking by Arce. Advice from Scolari, former central defender of Gremio. Lint, Ronald de Boer, Litmanen, Davids into trouble. Nunes, little shimmy, opens up a bit of space, but Ajax don't give him too much room to play with it. And Kluivert gets up well there. Adilson, quick one to Carlos Miguel. Rivarola, big Paraguayan defender, gives it away under pressure. Overmars to Davids. Space for Reisiger. Finidi on that flank. Roger gets to him. Gino is coming to help. Room here for Blint. Away by Arce. Blint again. Kluivert couldn't get there, but Rivarola not with a particularly good header. Way on by Adilson, picked up well by Davids. Lovely play. They're putting the squeeze on again, Ajax. Ronald de Boer fouled. Made a very good run, turned away and was hacked from behind. Nice ball in. It's Guyano who got the challenge in. He's got to watch his step because he's already been booked. But Ronald de Boer took a bad knock there. He takes the kick quickly, and for one moment I thought it was going to be the perfect combination. The De Boer brothers. It's Ronald, in fact, who moves forward. It was Frank who took it and just knocked away for a corner. What a story that would have been. Corner with the Bogarde on the near post. Kluivert making a run in. Adilson acrobatically away. But it's Ajax in possession as Gremio pour out of their penalty area. Squeeze up into midfield. Won by Adilson. And then Davids. He's a lively looking player on this left-hand side. Davids, not a good pass. Carlos Miguel. Paulo Nunes. Rogers rushing through on the inside. Crosses towards Jardel. Can he get a turn in? And the header back makes it safe for Ajax. Well, Danny Blind, the oldest player on the field, started off a little bit tentatively, but my word, he's playing some good football now. And here come Gremio again. Reisiger cuts that one out rather fortunately as Carlos Miguel was making his way through. Edgar Davids looking for Kluivert here. Late challenge. They're booking for the Paraguayan. Rivarola That's their third. There's a possibility that Guyana, who chopped down Ronald de Boer just a little bit earlier, he might have gone off, but the referee, I think, gave him the benefit of the doubt, but not this one when Riverola was the culprit. So that's 3 yellow cards so far for the Brazilians. None to Ajax, who have had only 4 yellow cards this season in some very competitive matches. Catalina Riverola, 30 years of age. Good run forward by Carlos Miguel, racing her quickly in there. David's chasing with Adilson, and that will be another booking and another yellow card. Unnecessary challenge there by Adilson. It's getting a little bit nasty, and it's what a few people predicted. If Ajax can get their game together, it could be that Gremio will lose their rag and get themselves into all sorts of disciplinary troubles. It was said that in South America they used the police to ruffle up opposition. There used to be fights, and they used to order the police on to sort it out. The police used to come on and bash opponents. Whether that's true or not, or merely hypocrisy or pub talk, I don't know, but you can see why they have a fairly poor disciplinary record. This is a Riverola who gets away with that one, and now Jardel is pushing through here. Paulo Nunes is free. Jardel is penalised for pulling back. Frank de Boer, you've got to be very, very careful here. They're whacking them all over the place. I wonder if we should finish with 11 Gremio players on the field. They're certainly finding it a little bit difficult to contain Ajax, but they're not doing too badly. Here goes Davids, and Litmanen was looking for that one, but it was well cut out by the experienced Gino. Carlos Miguel, Adilson, chopped by Bogada. Get on, don't make a big deal of it, says Mr. Ellery. I'm giving you the free kick, that's all. Paulo Nunes challenging here with Finidi. Lovely control by the Nigerian. Quick pass to Davids, who's having a good game. Overmars has been kept fairly quiet. There's plenty of time yet. Away by Arce, but only as far as Blint looking for the through ball. Adilson gets in there with Riverola as Kluivert moved in on that one. They're getting better and better, but not too many shots at Dunderley. Bogada for Overmars, but it's Riverola who gets in there. Kluivert, there's a chance here for Litmanen. He tried to knock it past Dunderley and it didn't work. And that's the man who's the leading scorer in last year's Champions League. That's the best opportunity of the match so far after a defensive error. Soft. And there's problems here. There's been an infringement on the edge of the area, and they're going to be short of a man. While we were watching that replay, there was a bad challenge, and I'm afraid there's going to be a sending off. It looks as if Riverola, the Paraguayan, has got a second yellow card, and he's going to go. Well, he's certainly off. Kluivert was chopped down there, and they're down, Gremio, to 10 men, and this has been their story in the course of their whole campaign. David Ellery, the referee from England, sends off Riverola in the 13th minute of the second half. Well, he was booked earlier for a challenge from behind, then chopping down Kluivert meant he had to go. So it's 10 men of Gremio against the 11 of Ajax, and they were only struggling to hold on to them when there was 11 against 11. Not an uncommon sight, I'm afraid, for Gremio. way they were clocking up the yellow card, well, that was a very, very high challenge. That was probably a red card on its own. It wasn't a second yellow, it was a straight red. Now, the obvious numerical superiority, but as we've all seen over the years, 10 against 11 isn't always as easy as it sounds. Good ball to Paulo Nunes. Recent challenge by Borgade. It's still Paulo Nunes. It's a free kick to Gremio. Rare opportunity for them to perhaps test goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar. And there's trouble going on here as a Gremio player goes down, and this, I've got to tell you, is play acting by Gremio. Ajax don't normally get involved in this sort of thing. I'd be very surprised if there's something untoward here. But what happens here is now masses of Gremio players come off the bench off that incident. They protest, they make a fuss. The referee and the linesman are conferring about what actually happened, and we shall have to see whether the referee David Ellery takes action after Adilson fell like a shot poleaxe. Protests, mass protests by the Gremio players that somebody should be sent off. I don't think they're going to get their way though. We're just going to have the free kick that they were awarded beforehand. Meanwhile, Adilson has come back from the dead. Was Overmars the culprit? I'm sure he wouldn't take too many on in a physical battle with Gremio. Well, that was why a free kick was awarded, but should have been awarded the other way. But an opportunity now, perhaps, for Gremio to produce a shot. Arce has a good shot with his right foot. Gino, the number 5, has a great shot. It's Carlos Miguel. Paulo Nunes turns, and Paulo Nunes shot! Oh, it should have been in! Jardel had an opportunity there as it bounced away from Paulo Nunes, and he knocked it past the post. And he hangs his head. How did that come to him? Rebounds off the wall. Paulo Nunes, a little flick. Jardel. Oh, he should have scored. A fortunate bounce. Spinning ball. And a substitution. Adilson is off. And Luciano, a defender, is on. He's a 25-year-old. Very little first team experience, but they've closed down in midfield, brought Paulo Nunes back, and brought on a defender to replace Riverola, who'd been sent off. Sorry figure, but it's still 0-0, and 2 good chances in the second half. One to Lippmann, one to Jardel. Here's Reisiger to Blint. Lippmann, not such a good one. Roger knocks it forward to Jardel. He's got to hold it up and try and get a bit of support from Paulo Nunes. Very, very difficult. He'll run himself into the ground with balls like that. Forward goes Davids. Paulo Nunes in there battling. Well, they do say when you have a numerical advantage, you've got to keep moving the ball quickly, you've got to use width, you've got to make the opposition run. It's something that Ajax do quite naturally anyhow, but let's see if they keep the system going to test the 10 men of Gremio. Overmars beaten there by Arce, and indeed the linesman, much to the disgust of coach Arce, gives the throw, or much to the pleasure of Scolari, gives the throw to Gremio. Reisinger in there beautifully. Finidi down the right-hand side, but miss-hit. The pitch isn't the best, but I don't think you could blame the pitch on that occasion. Although it's a little bit patchy, a little bit pockmarked, it's smoother than it looks. And of course the grass is much better than it was in the early days of the Toyota Cup, when it seems as if it was impossible to make it green in Tokyo at this time of the year, but things have changed. Another match here in 48 hours, which is the first leg of the J-League playoff between the Yokohama Marinos and Verdi Kawasaki. Blint to Kluivert to Davids. Kluivert, a little touch, Ronald de Boer, and here's Finidi going to chip one in. Kluivert, oh, it's just too deep. They were in there in numbers. Beautiful move to get it to the right-hand side, but the cross wasn't quite good enough. Overmars racing back to cover. Juninho looking stronger physically, and there's a foul there by Paulo Nunes, and beginning to show their frustration. Lovely play, not such a good cross though. It was almost impossible for anybody to get there. Too strong for Kluivert anyhow. But surely Ajax are going to make this advantage count. Paulo Nunes on his own. Reisiger leaves Nunes for speed. Challenged by Roger. Reisiger gets away. Fine play by a fullback. Davids forward to Lippmanen. Cut out by Adilson. He runs into trouble. Two-footed tackle. Blint doesn't like it, but they push it forward. And here goes Ronald de Boer. Great turn. And great save and a lovely move. Kluivert in the end. 3 quick touches to get him into a shooting position. And it looked as if it was past Danrelay, but how well it worked. Lippmanen, Overmars, Kluivert, good goalkeeping. That's well worth seeing again. Ronald de Boer, Lippmanen, Overmars, and Kluivert, best move of the match. Beginning to tick again. Danrelay did well. Overmars wins that one. And the corner. They're putting the pressure on now, Ajax. Frank de Boer comes up. Winston Bogada comes up. Kluivert, encouraged by Ronald de Boer. Keep going. As Finidi takes the corner. Away by Gino. Not totally clear yet because Lippmanen is in there. Crossfield pass, done well to keep onside. This is de Boer. They're in trouble now, Gremio. And Lippmanen can't get there. It's stretched for him. Davids came in and they couldn't get it cleanly either. Defender puts it out, and another chance has gone begging. Gino did pretty well, but they're on the rack here. Gremio. How long can they hold on? De Boer's cross, I thought Lippmanen had the best chance, but Davids almost knocked it in. And it looks as if Kanu's going to come on. Here comes the corner, it's a dangerous one. Spectacular stuff. And Jardel got it away, and he's got a bit of cramp. He hasn't done a lot of training while he's been here. A 19-year-old Nigerian prepares to come on to add to the strike force of Ajax. They're not doing too badly at the moment, but it's still 0-0. Goal kick given. You might have heard a shout there. That was the shout of the coach saying to Kanu, come on, get yourself going. Overmars is coming off. He's had a tight game against Darcy. Now the big 6'3" Kanu comes on. 19-year-old comes from the well-known club in Nigeria of Iwan Yoyo. He said before the game, if I get on, and Kluivert's playing well, so I might not, but if I get on, I feel I'm going to score. We'll see. It's going to be interesting how Kanu and Kluivert play together. This is going for Kanu. Kanu turns his man, but with his hip, that's the foul. His first touch levers off a big, strong central defender. So this is an anxious player. This is a player who's desperate to make his mark. As Ajax are playing so well, he said it's very difficult for him to get in to the first choice team. But if he bangs in the winner in this game, he'll be a hero, all right? Arce, then, oh, it was Jardel with a chance there. Jardel with a header where he's so strong, but he was being lent on by an Ajax defender. Good cross. Arce, Jardel, not strong enough. Frank de Boer leaning on him, but he should have done better. Oh, there's problems here, and Kanu has been booked for the retaliation on the Gremio player, and he's only been on the field 2.5 minutes before he gets involved in some silliness, which is very unusual for Ajax, and a bit of stupidity from the 19-year-old Nigerian. A little bit rough already out there. It's so important that Ajax keep playing it. Davids has come wider on the left, taking over from Overmars. Blind pushing up here. Ronald de Boer. Litmanen, Blind, Litmanen, Ronald de Boer, they're pushing in, they're going to have a crack any minute. And Blind did have a crack, but it wasn't really worth too much. Nice build-up, pushing Gremio all the way back. Kanu knocked it into his captain, but the volley wasn't quite up to scratch. Litmanen. Kanu holds off his man well. He's fouled though by Adilson, the Gremio captain. To keep reminding ourselves that Gremio are down to 10 men. A situation that they've not seen before. Forward goes Kanu, and a great header by Kluivert. Then Litmanen almost got it. Two big fellas in there, and the bar saves Gremio. Nice little knock forward there from the right-hand side. Two big fellas challenging it, and almost the first goal. Wonderful chip. Kanu leaps first, and then it goes off the head of Kluivert and off the bar. Jardel leaping there. Paulo Nunes battling rather untidily with Blind. Reisinger. Surely Ajax are going to break the deadlock soon. A little push by Adilson as Kanu keeps going. Knock on the head for Kluivert, possibly in that aerial challenge that when the ball hit the bar. Let's have a look. Difficult to know who actually headed that ball, whether it was the defender or Kluivert. But Kluivert certainly hurt. Finidi on that right-hand side to Ronald de Boer. Nice play. Reisinger pushing forward with a space for Blind. Wide to Davids. Kanu is in the middle. No. There's no Clivert at the middle. The minute he's on the touchline after receiving attention, he can't get back into the field of play. So it's 10 against 10 at this very moment. Ronald de Boer knocking it around well, but can they open this resolute Gremio defence? Wide to Paulo Nunes. Bogada gets to him. Needs help. Good play. Carlos Miguel. Good run, he's in there, and the appeals for a penalty. Hurling themselves at the referee. He says play on, and the game goes on. And really, Grêmio have got no time to complain too much because it's Ajax coming forward, but he fell down spectacularly there, Carlos Miguel. Deep ball for Clivert, who's back onto the field of play, so it's 11 against 10. It's Davids in here. Lippmann going for the loose ball. David shoots. Deflected. Spinning ball, difficult for Danilo. Well, was this a penalty or not? That's Carlos Miguel went forward. I think he was intent on stumbling, intent on falling. Difficult to tell from here whether he was actually knocked. But the referee, right up with play, didn't flinch. Linesman turned away, and the game went on. Still 0-0. Davids against Arce. Good run and the cross. It's poor. And he's had such a good game in midfield. Well, Scolari, I think, being viewed by Van Gaal. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to say, but although Ajax are dominating the game territorially, there's been a couple of decent chances for Gremio. Ooh, good pass then to Arce. Jardel gets in there, and the other Gremio players beat their heads in frustration as another chance is missed by their star forward. Playing his last game, he could have buried a couple for Gremio, despite the fact that they're in big trouble here. Holds off his man, Reisiger, and the touch wasn't good enough. This, for a top quality $4,500 player, should have been on target. Wasn't helped by the challenge by Reisiger, certainly. But it could have been the 10 men of Gremio who are clearly up here. So the danger is still there for Ajax. The counter-attack by the 10 men could yet catch them out. Kanu gets up, but he's beaten by Luciano. Gaiano for Jardel to chase. Well, he's ducked it by Frank de Boer. Play on, says David Ellery. He wasn't quick enough to get by Frank de Boer. Blind. Some spaces on the flanks for Ajax, but not too much room in the middle. Finidi. They've really taken some wearing down, Gremio. Blind to Lippmann. Back again for Blind, more room now. Lippmann goes forward, there's space here then on the left-hand side to Bogada. Poor cross. Might have another go at it. Kanu races down the left-hand side. This is Lippmann. Lippmann can open up a bit of a space here, but too close to the goalkeeper. Well, he's made one spectacular save down the relay. Lippmann should have put one past him early in the second half. Jardel. They should have given it quicker. Fortunately, it comes to Arce. Jardel now. Paulo Nunes goes into the middle, but he needs support here. He gets it from Arce, the Paraguayan. Offside. Well, if you're looking at it from a distance and didn't know who was who. It's Ajax who are playing the more, if you like, South American, Brazilian style of football, passing it, moving it, and Grêmio are more direct and defensive. Not unusual, according to them, because of the part of the world they come from. Ronald de Boer, Kanu, Litmanen, foul, a free kick for Gremio. Another substitution by the Brazilian side, and the man who's coming off won't be at all happy, and it's going to be Jardel, who could have had 2 goals, the hero of the Copa Libertadores, and this is probably his last act as a Gremio player. The club say he's on his way to Glasgow Rangers. He says he's not absolutely sure, but he has had a knee injury. He wasn't 100% fit, but he has missed a couple of chances, and the pained expression isn't because of the knee. Magno comes on. Again, another player with very little experience, 21 years of age, quick mover, not as strong in the air. Oh, Magno's done well, it's his first touch. And they pick up the loose ball, almost. Yes, play on, says the referee, although there was a foul. Paulo Nunes ducking into trouble. Paulo Nunes does well, and breaks to Arce, knocked out. This is a bit of spirit and aggression by the 10 men of Gremio. Again, Scolari, the coach, comes onto the touchline, giving directions. Free kick, foul on Paulo Nunes. The crowd warming to this one. And Ajax could be in a little bit of trouble here. The big fellas have come up from the back. Adilson is there, Gaiano is there, so is Luciano. Big problems now for Ajax as Arce bangs that one in. It's a good one. Good defending though by Bolgada, I think. And then out by de Boer. That was a very, very difficult cross. Well, as I mentioned earlier, extra time and penalties is nothing strange about this particular tournament. Extra time indeed in 1983 when Gremio won it. Jardel, rather forlorn figure on the bench, and no foul as Magno goes down. And that's a free kick conceded by 19-year-old Kanu. Well, they haven't had the breakthrough. Now they could be in a little bit of trouble, Ajax, if they don't maintain their concentration. Paulo Nunes, much more responsibility now up front, now that Jardel has gone. Litmanen. So on our clock we have something like 7 or 8 minutes of normal time for one of these two teams to grab the trophy in within the 90 minutes. Well played by Kluivert. Good play. Kluivert fortunate to get a return. Litmanen. And here comes Bolgada. A little bit slow with the cross in, with 4 Ajax players in there to support him. It was well covered by Arce, who takes a tumble, is hurt, and the referee holds up play. Pictures here incidentally from NTV, Channel 4, the senior commercial channel in Japan. 16 cameras, including one from a helicopter. And I think the coverage we've seen here is significant, the way that the knowledge and sophistication of the game in Japan has developed over the years, not only in the J League, but in the supporting roles too. Well, meanwhile, as you know, according to FIFA rules, all injured players must be treated off the pitch, regardless of their injury. So it means at the moment, Gremio will be down to 9 men. As Bogada tries to get this ball in and loses it. They're going to have to hack a victory out of what has been a fairly sporadic second half performance if they're going to do it. Bogada's done superbly here. That was a fine challenge by Gino, can't keep it in. He's keeping battling. He's won 2 Toyota Cups, he's not giving up the possibility of a third, and a record third too. But they've pushed a lot of players forward, Ajax. Litmanen. Away by Arce, who's come back onto the field. Breaks to Kluivert, hacked away by Arce again. Magno will chase it. It's not a lot of point unless Van der Sar makes a mistake. It's incredible. The 10 men have had 2 excellent chances. Ajax have had half chances, but except for Litmanen's early on, not as good as Jardel's. Incredible if the game were pushed into extra time. Can Ajax pinch it now in the last 5 minutes? Frank de Boer looking for Kluivert. Davids. Bogada. Changed roles a little bit here. Bogada's gone to the wide left-hand side. Bogada's come back into a defensive role. And here's de Boer. And de Boer going again. And a good opportunity for Bogard to get a good cross in. Wasted. And he knows it. They cannot allow opportunities like that with Kanu queuing up on the far post to be thrown away. Well, whatever Ajax do, they'll always be compared, of course, with the great teams of the 70s when Johan Cruyff, Neeskens and Ruud Krol won European Championships in 71, 72 and 73, but wouldn't play in the Intercontinental final on 2 of those occasions because they said it was too brutal and not even worth getting involved in. They won it once against Independiente of Argentina in 72, but they're having to battle here against a Brazilian side of 10 men as we go to the last 4 minutes. Bogada does well. Kanu. That's a good ball. And a fairly fierce challenge as Blind knocks it back in again. Hacked away by Gino. It's all a bit frantic now. Magno challenges. Davids. Magno. It might be in with a bit of a chance here, Gremio, of a half break. Oh, it's a fairly ruthless turn and challenge there on Carlos Miguel. The referee says play on. Win it back again with a fierce challenge by Gaiano. Forward goes Magno. Good interception by Davids. And it's Ajax who are having to show a bit of ability in defence. Blind, superb ball. Finidi, Kanu's up front. Kluivert is back here. It's a rubbish cross. And a great opportunity lost. But they haven't got it clear yet. Now they have. And the 10 men of Gremio are playing a bit of football. But mistake by Paulo Nunes. Lets in Davids. Only for Adilson, the captain, to knock it back to his goalkeeper. There'll be an anxious look now at the clock by both sides. 3 minutes on our clock. It's David Elleridge that counts. Paulo Nunes goes in. Van der Sar, who's about twice as big as he is, clears it comfortably. Can anybody snatch a winner in the closing moments? De Boer to Bogada. Kanu comes to him, Kluivert backs off. Can he get the cross in here? Kluivert came to try and help him, but all they get is a throw. It's not true that they're running out of ideas, but they're certainly running out of opportunities up front. Bogada, quick cross. Lippmann chases it. Blind can't quite get there. Reisiger must keep the pace up in the last 2 minutes. Can they pinch a winner that most people say they should have deserved, apart from the Jardel misses in the second half? This is Finidi to Reisiger. Good challenge by Gaiano, but it's still Ajax. Blind changing it to Bogada. Arce can't or daren't get in there. Bogada against the Paraguayan. He gets a telling cross in here. It could be real danger. Away by Adilson, the captain. Gino refuses to panic. And it bounces fortunately to Kanu. It's Adilson again away. Big challenge by Gino. Blind, a quick one. And here's a half an opportunity, I thought, for Clive, and he couldn't quite control it. As a Gremio player, Gino, I think, goes down. Lovely through ball. Well, you can tell by that clock that we've very few seconds left, and it looks as if we're going towards extra time. Referee David Ellery says to Gino, come on, if you want treatment, off you go. And by magic he gets up. But he's had a good game, particularly since they've been down to 10 men. So too has Adilson at the back. It's been quite a feat by Gremio to keep Ajax out and to create a couple of half chances of their own. And they're not finished yet. As we go into 90 minutes, we've had a little bit of stoppage time, so it's not finished officially. There's a free kick to Gremio. Time added on. Paulo Nunes backs off to the right and calls for a quick pass, but I don't think they're physically capable of that. There's a few tired legs out there. The chip forward to who? To Magno, but Reisiger can let it go, and I think both sides are beginning to resign themselves to a couple of periods of extra time. We'll see. Can this game be resolved in time added on? De Boer to Kanu to Blind. Forward goes Ronald de Boer, and Kanu gets in on that one. It's a good effort, and the ball bounced out invitingly to Finidi, and he struck it straight at Dan Relay and took a knock as well. Well, there was an opportunity there. Great bit of work by De Boer on the right hand side to get it back. Another superb pass from Danny Blind to put him in. Second minute of time added on. Still 0-0, but here goes Paulo Nunes. No, he doesn't. Blind just got a foot to it. And there's the end of 90 minutes. Ajax, despite the pressure of the second half, despite the fact that for most of the second half they've had 11. So we're off. 2 50-minute periods. Can this game be resolved in that time? Much better for everyone, I would think, if we don't go to the penalties, although it does give some real drama. Most unusual circumstances for Ajax. With the 10 men of Gremio have battled really well. A little bit of luck. Dan Relay has made a couple of good saves. Can Ajax keep it moving, keep it open, so that the one-man advantage pays off? They haven't started too well. He's actually aged 45 officially. He's probably aged another 3 or 4 years during the course of this match. But minor significance in the great contest out there. Two comparatively young sides. Not too many chances created. Some great individual battles. And it's been a surprise that we've had no goals. Magno. Well intercepted by Frank de Boer. Lidmanen finds Finidi. Kanu and Kluivert in the middle. This is Kanu. Back to Ronald de Boer. Lidmanen, not quite sure what that was meant for. This is Gaiano. Oh, well done. Shaped to make a pass. Went through the middle. Still going. Not now though. Lidmanen takes it off him. Blind. Kluivert robbed. Here's Paulo Nunes. Davids gets to him. Paulo Nunes keeps hold of it. Gremio player has gone down with cramp. A foul. And the referee holds play up while treatment is brought on. Paulo Nunes impeded here. You see the player in anguish in defence. Well, tiredness is a factor, cramp is a factor, and the cold won't do that any good. But I wonder if that was more of a twist. But the rules are, if you want treatment, off you go. So once again, they're down to 9 men, although I don't think it'll be for long. Indeed, surprise, surprise, Carlos Miguel wants to come back on again. The referee has turned his back on him. Yeah, he waves him on now. Dangerous game though. Gino going to try a little bit of a drive? No, surely not. Bounces through on the dry turf, but to nobody's real advantage. Possible substitution here. Davids for Ajax. Pace has slowed a little bit. If they can keep the tempo up, they're surely going to get on top of the 10 men. It's slowed down rather strangely. Hooked in by Frank de Boer, and Kluivert chases in vain. And here's the substitution. Martin Rauser coming on, midfield player. Lidmanen is coming off. Very effective in the first half, taking a few knocks in the second, missed clear opening. But the man who came on as a substitute for Lidmanen in the Champions final scored the winner. I wonder if Rauser, that means a giant in Dutch, I wonder if he'll be a giant here on this occasion. It'll be a great story if he is, because he's no experience whatsoever. And he's a midfield player who doesn't score too many goals. Now, Magno, wide to Paulo Nunes. Little jink by Paulo Nunes. No foul. Forward by Bagada. Rauser, that's his first involvement. It's a free kick. Davids. Rauser here. Davids again. Finding Bagada. 10 men of Gremio push back, only Paulo Nunes in any sort of an attacking role here. Reisiger to Ronald de Boer. Something of a challenge from Magno. Forward he goes. And it's Ajax back in possession again. Forward by Blind. Free kick. All a little bit sporadic here, and it's Adilson, the captain, who's feeling the effects of a challenge there, but gets up and takes the kick. Okay, finds Paulo Nunes. Behind him he's got Gaiano and Arce. Well won. Royce, good ball. Royce goes forward into a striking position. Here's Ronald de Boer, fires one over. Is Royce going to get up there? And De Blint, Kanu and Kluivert too close. Gremio get back in numbers. Play on, no foul. Although Paulo Nunes goes down as if shot. Ronald de Boer. Kluivert looking for a little bit of brilliance from him. Kanu. In fact, he slipped, I think. His studs didn't seem to get a purchase there. Another substitution. On comes number 14, Gélson. Midfield player. Carlos Miguel is off. Well, nice ball forward, but offside. So a little bit of reorganising here. Gélson, midfield, again, no great pedigree. Had a couple of games in the Copa Libertadores, but as substitute. A little bit of a physical challenge there, all right. As Luciano is penalised. Back he goes. Frank de Boer to Finidi. Roger trying to get at him. This splint. Magno loses out. Bogada. Can Ajax open them up? Arce, decent ball. Paulo Nunes is wide on this left-hand side, but he chooses to go to the right-hand side, which is a little bit unwise. And De Boer can run it out. The player, as Magno said, player free was Paulo Nunes on the left. So it's Magno and Paulo Nunes playing up front for depleted Gremio. Two big fellas playing up front for Ajax, and they're beginning to stumble a little bit. Not the fluency of the last period of the first half. It's not a good clearance to Gaiano. Paulo Nunes. Roger goes on the left-hand side. Paulo Nunes with a weak shot. Tired bit of play by the 24-year-old. But Gino is the key man at the back at the moment. That's a good bit of play by Kanu. Ronald de Boer. Kluivert loses it. Nice play by the 10 men, but he's got into trouble. Kanu is chasing this big giant of a man. Well, it's a difficult position for a throw anyhow. And did he go off for a corner? I think it might have done. The big fellas are coming up from the back again. Kanu on the near post. Kluivert with Frank de Boer at the back. Bogada is in there for this in-swinger. Royce drops out of the penalty area. Frank de Boer is on the goalkeeper. Away by Adilson. They push up to the edge of the area and the flag goes up for offside. That was a strange one. I think only the Gremio coach agreed with that one. Paulo Nunes. Gaiano, Gino pushing, Gaiano pushing forward. And Magno, Paulo Nunes, there's a handball there, I thought, yes. An opportunity, a half opportunity. I don't think there'll be too many more, but it was a well-worked move. As Paulo Nunes got to the ball, it comes off his hand. Kluivert now for Ajax. It's a nice ball to Finidi. Roger gets himself in a little bit of trouble. Free kick. Finidi George, whatever you care to call him. Terrible circumstances in which his younger brother was shot dead at a Nigerian league match. But playing on here in a side which has numerical superiority but cannot beat yet this brave challenge by the 10 men of Gremio. And here goes Magno. Reissiger was right with him. Good defending. Now, bit of space for Danny Blind. Borgada on the left. Reissiger comes over. Kanu. Kluivert. Oh, that's not a good one. Free kick given. Gino looks pained, but I don't think there's too much danger that was a foul. And the threat now is from the big cross with Frank de Boer in there. Kanu going to the near post. Well defended again by Gremio. I must say they do it very well in the air, but there's still dangers. Not now, there isn't. And it's significant that Roger just lets that one run out. They're quite happy as we go into the last couple of minutes of time added on here. Good defending by Brazilian international Adilson, who owns his own contract incidentally, and depending what happens here, could be on his way possibly to Europe. Cries of Gremio from the mass ranks here. Crowd now, I would have thought, at full capacity. They must have known a thing or two about the extra time. It's a fine ball, finding Ronald de Boer on the right-hand side. Reusser calls for the big one, but it goes short to Finidi. Back again to the Nigerian. Ronald de Boer can't get away from Roger and loses it, and through goes Paulo Nunes. Great interception by Edgar Davids. We've seen him playing a few roles. He's playing at the back as he did against Real Madrid in the last game. He played in midfield, he's played the wide on the left. Good play. Now, Borgada. That was meant for Reusser. Oh, and a bit of bad luck there by Gino. Well out by Roger, the young left back. Back in by Blind. Blind again, return from Kluivert. This is Reusser. They're still in possession. Not now, they're not. Big boot and out. And we get a little bit nearer penalties as we come to the end of this first period of extra time here in the National Olympic Stadium, and surprisingly, no goals yet. Reusser, Finidi George gets in there, but it's a comfortable header for the captain, Adilson. Davids. And there's the whistle for the end of that first period, and frustration all round. Both sides would claim that they've had opportunities to win this 16th Toyota Cup, but it hasn't happened yet. This is exactly what Ajax didn't want. They've got a very, very heavy program coming up. So everything for them is this match. For Ajax, there's a lot more coming up on the calendar. Van Gaal back to the bench, and we're back to the drawing board. So the second and last period of extra time in this Toyota Cup final. Ajax of Amsterdam, 11 men against the 10 of Gremio, and still it's 0-0. Kluivert, lovely turn, great play by the 19-year-old. Carno's there to support him. Kluivert goes for the big shot, blocked by Luciano. Still Ajax. Surely they're going to knock this one on the head pretty soon. Oh, not with passes like that. Paulo Nunes surely can't run for that. Not even attempting it. Well, patience is a virtue in these situations for spectators as well as players, as Rasinger gets that one forward to Reuser. Frank de Boer to Davids. They resist the temptation of humping a big one in, but they make a mistake. And it's cut out by Nunes. 4 Japanese clubs apparently have been talking to him while he's been here. Like a lot of players, they like to come to Japan. The wages are pretty generous. But that one unresolved yet. Frank de Boer. And a little touch forward to Reuser and Blind, and blocked by the captain Adilson. That's more like it from Ajax. They were playing like that in the first half and for periods in the second, but they've slowed it down. Tiredness obviously a factor, but not dispatching it as quickly or as accurately as they were earlier on. Reuser's done well. Here's Bogada. And Kluivert blocked again, corner, well marked. Dan Relay well protected. But another opportunity for Ajax to inch ahead here. Bogada's in there, Kluivert coming in from the back, Carno on the near post. But once again, Gremio defend well, but they have lost possession to Davids. Blind to Finidi, who switched wings. Finidi with the right foot. Lovely effort, just curling past that post. And I don't think Dan Relay would have got that one. Lovely play. Oohs and ahs from the crowd here as we see the replay, also on the giant screen in this National Olympic Stadium. And we're seeing again. Well won by Frank de Boer. Blind, a piece of magic, a mistake. It could still be resolved in normal time. And there's a yellow card for Gélson. So they're certainly adding up the yellow cards and the red for the Brazilians. Very late on Finidi. Frank de Boer hasn't gone up for this one. Bogada has though. Carno coming towards the near post. Frank de Boer. Kluivert at the back. Oh, and good defending again by Adilson. Perfect timing. Reuser is fouled. No, the foul is the other way. Indirect. Well, Kluivert, still a smile on his face. He's had a tough battle against Adilson, the captain of the Brazilian side. Roycer, who was involved in that challenge there, has done well since he came on, the substitute for Litmanen. He's only 20 years of age. No real experience at all at the top level. But of course, of the Ajax mould, and age doesn't really matter. So he could yet be the giant in this contest. And surely one goal isn't going to win it. Predictions were beforehand that Gremio would be hard to break down, but when they were reduced to 10 men after about 30 minutes of the second half, you'd have thought it would have been easier, but it hasn't proved so. Well played by Dino. And Finidi. Now then, Kluivert is under this. Bogarde. Paulo Nunes. He's got a long run to make if he's going to go alone. Gaiano. Good challenge by Frank de Boer. But it's Gino who picked it up and played it coolly. Paulo Nunes to Gaiano. That's a powerful one from Davids. He hasn't done much wrong in this game. And good play by young Rauser. Finidi. Quickening the tempo here a little bit, but perhaps only in spells. Frank de Boer looking for brother Ronald. Finidi going forward. Here's Rauser offside. Flag is up. That was my ball, says Finidi. Let it go, but I think he would have been offside. It wasn't Rauser who was offside. Let's have a look. Frank de Boer, no, he's not offside. He's nowhere near offside. No, he is. Mike Reisiger knocks that one wide, really wide, too wide. And it's Gremio's ball. Gremio, incidentally, interesting story about the way they were brought into existence. A guy came down from Sao Paulo with a ball and literally found himself in a restaurant one night and said, well, I've got this ball, what should we do? And the obvious thing was, well, let's go and give it a kick around. And 33 fellows in the restaurant said, I'll join you. And they had a game of sorts, and that was the way the club was formed in 1903. The ball came first. Their colours originally were red and black stripes, but they ran out of red dye, so they had to go to blue stripes. But meanwhile, Davids, in the real world, has been booked for that challenge. Second yellow card then for Ajax. 6th of the season. Magno. Paulo Nunes. Gaiano's gone in the middle if he can whack one into the middle there. But Frank de Boer does well. Oh, good interception by Dino. Paulo Nunes, free kick. Things going slightly Gremio's way here. This would be some turn up for the books if the 10 men could produce something spectacular. Magno goes into the middle. Adilson, the captain, is there. So too is Luciano. Well, if they pile a big one into the far post, it's Adilson's. Luciano is capable of doing it. And it's a straight drive. And they come again for a second. No chance. Now it might be Ajax on the break, if they can get possession. Ronald de Boer, lovely ball to Finidi. Can they open them up here? Oh, superb interception by Luciano. Five minutes of normal play left before we have penalties. Finidi. Ronald de Boer. Oh, it's a difficult one for Roger to chase. Well, Scolari must be reasonably happy that they've managed to hold Ajax off for so long. If they can get it into penalties, it becomes an even contest again. And they play a lot of penalty resolutions in South America. Danny Blind gets up well there. Nice ball out to Finidi. They're piling into the penalty area. Ajax, there's a chance here. And over the top from Kluivert. I think he took a bit of a knock there. Nice cross, just knocked down invitingly. He has a quick go at it. I wonder if it should have been Kano who had a go. Well, there's been so many of these half chances, and still it's 0-0. Free kick for Ajax. 3.5 minutes on our clock. Left of the second period of extra time. Powerful header by Luciano, but not a good one. Ronald de Boer. In for Davids. Oh, knocked away again by Adilson. A more direct approach there from Frank de Boer, that they were rather fortunate to get possession back again. They're putting on the pressure here in the last moment. The flag has gone up anyhow. Kluivert was offside. Challenge by Kanu to make down the relay, get a move on. Well, we don't often get 0-0 games in the Toyota Cup. Luciano wins, Ronald de Boer wins that one. Blind knocking out wide to Bogard. The last push forward, and there's a push there. Appeals by the Gremio players that I think it was Adilson who was shoved over. The referee speaking to Dan Relay, wants him to get a move on. And it looks as if these goalkeepers are going to be involved in a fairly dramatic finish here in the National Olympic Stadium. To be fair to Gremio, 10 men, and to hold off Ajax, that's pretty good. They haven't achieved it yet though. Up goes Kluivert, knocked away by Arce. Back in again, and they're through here. No, they're offside. Let's see. Yep. Kluivert offside, and probably Roycer, certainly Kluivert. So Gremio of 1983 won it in extra time. If Gremio of 1995 are going to win it in extra time, they've got about a minute left to do it. And they're down to 10 men, but battling with great resolution. Reisinger fires one to the left towards Bogada. Knocked into the middle. Roycer back in. Too strong. Gaiano away. Paulo Nunes pitches it. Magno is with him. Magno chasing here. Reisinger comes over fast. Great defending. He was always going to win the chase, and he timed it well. He's had a superb game, Mike Reisinger. The bench of Gremio waving that the time is up, where it might be within 2 or 3 seconds, but not according to the referee. That's the one that counts. Oh, and Magno's going to chase this one, and in the middle goes Paulo Nunes. Is a bad one, he could have crossed it. Now they're short of a couple of players as the whistle goes for the end of the second period of extra time, and we're forced into penalties. Would you believe it? Well, for Luis Felipe Scolari, that's very satisfactory against Edwin van der Sar. So it's been a difficult game for the spectators in many ways. It's particularly difficult for the photographers and cameramen, those of whom were up the other end behind the other goal, because they're having to jog around at the pace of knots with all their gear to get a position of resolution for the penalties now. So the first kick for Gremio, and it's going to be Gino, the 29-year-old who's won 2 Toyota Cups, takes penalties normally in ordinary time, and is really their key player in this situation. Their belief is if they start well, they've got a chance. Gino against Edwin van der Sar. And Edwin van der Sar with a great save. What a brilliant start for Ajax. And disappointment for Gino. What a blow for Gremio, the 10 men who battled well. It's a superb save. Now they're in trouble. It was their experienced hand who was meant to take that one. Now it's Patrick Kluivert for Ajax. Would you believe it? Well, we didn't get any goals in real time. You'd have thought in penalty situations we'd have got a few, but Kluivert over casually puts it past the post. Well, I don't know what to say about that one. Coming up next, Arce, the Paraguayan. So it's all square. He normally takes free kicks and some penalties. Unbelievable! Unbelievable! Now, did the goalkeeper get a touch on that one, or did that rattle against the woodwork without his assistance? I just can't believe that we've had 3 penalties and haven't had a goal yet. No help from the goalkeeper. Now, more like it, definitely more like it. Ronald de Boer, and they're 1 up. A smile at last. Almost got a hand to it. It wasn't a particularly well taken kick, but it's 1-0 after 2 rounds, and a few smiles at last. Next for Gremio, it's Magno, one of the substitutes. Their first penalty that scores of their 3rd attempt, but they're behind now. 1-1, but now there's an opportunity for Ajax to go into the lead. It's brother Frank de Boer. Very easy. And the de Boer twins are putting Ajax into the driving seat. So 2-1 after 3 rounds. They're up against it now. This one going to be taken by Gélson, another of the substitutes. It looked a bit apprehensive, but it went in. So it's 2-2, but of course Grêmio have had one extra kick. Next up for Ajax is Finidi George. This would give them a 3-2 lead with 1 round then to go. For one horrible moment I thought that had gone past the post, but 3-2 it is with 1 round left. So in other words, if Gremio miss this one, the cup goes to Ajax. So Edwin van der Sar can be a hero here, and the captain of Gremio has an awesome responsibility. Adilson broke his leg in Japan when he played here in the Super Cup. Has horrible memories of the place, he said. Will this give him horrible memories? He's got to score it, otherwise they've lost. Okay, so far. But they're not out of danger yet. It's 3-3, so this means the captain of Ajax, Danny Blind, comes up, and the players of Gremio know that if he scores, then Ajax have won the cup. Well, a perfect man for the occasion. A lot of experience, very cool, had a good game. This is the man who can win the cup for Ajax. They've won it! Danny Blind with that final penalty, and Ajax are the 16th Toyota Cup winners after a marathon. Well, an extraordinary finish. Disappointment for Gremio, tears for the Brazilians. Gino with the player who missed his first penalty and really put them up against it. They lost a little bit of nerve when it came to those kicks after such a great performance that had brought 10 men into a position where they could win the game. Gélson was hurt, Riverola was sent off, Jardel wasn't 100% fit, but he missed a couple of opportunities. But in the end, Ajax, who've won pretty well everything put in front of them in the last 18 months, have won this championship. But really, it was only just. The Dutch had a couple of contenders. Davids had a good game. Reisinger was outstanding. But here, the presentation of the Intercontinental Trophy, first of all, to Danny Blind. The trophy Ajax won in 1972. Now they won it again in 1995. And the Toyota Cup, which is won for the first time in 1995, held by Frank de Boer. So 2 trophies for the European champions. They did it the hard way. Nothing could be harder.